All right. All right, folks. We should be streaming right now live on YouTube. Actually, I don't even need the headphones right now. I get the headphones back on when I start playing some actual clips, which I will do in just a little while here. But, so yeah, decided to try out YouTube once again since I'm sort of changing up the format of the show a little bit. So I decided I'd try to change up a little bit. I obviously tweaked the setup a little bit for those of you on YouTube right now checking this bad boy out. You see I tweaked that setup a little bit. I like it. I think it's kind of fun. Makes it look movie-like almost. So anyway, there you go. But yeah, anyway, I am David Richardson. Appreciate everybody joining me right here. Whoever's going to watch this, thank you very much. Listeners, thank you very much too. And this is going to be a good one. This is a true story that I'm actually going to be talking here, and I always like talking true stories. It's easier to, you don't have to worry about blurring those fact and fiction lines. Most of this movie is true, of course, like every true story. There's a little bit embellishment. There's a little fact, a little fiction. This story is no different, really. But I'm going to be talking in just a few minutes after I do plugs and get a few things out of the way. I will be talking 1993 Beyond the Law, about a police officer, former police officer who was picked up by the FBI and set out to take down a biker gang out in the desert of Arizona out there, a dangerous biker gang. So we'll be going through all that right there. Now, I did try Wednesday night for the wrestling show to use YouTube and didn't realize when you use studio mode, you have to tick the picture over to the other side. I didn't know this because I am old and I'm still learning, but I now know that I need to tick the picture over, which means then everybody can see these lovely pictures. And that is the movie I'll be doing in just a few minutes here, which is, once again, that 1993 Beyond the Law. You see Charlie Sheen. This picture we see here is kind of the third incarnation of what we get out of this movie of Charlie Sheen and the character he's playing, the undercover cop. You see he got he's got the beard going. He's got the mullet going. Was trying to look a little different, obviously, for the part of the movie, and he had to because people were recognizing him. Charlie Sheen has a baby face, and they kind of, they don't poke fun at it in this movie, but they kind of make it a point to mention that he's got a little baby face. So anyway, we're gonna keep rolling along here. I'm gonna drop that picture off of there. Now you're back to me. There we go. So there we go. I did figure that out. So that's a good thing. And I'm going to knock out plugs real fast. Not going to put any movie or any music behind them because I don't want to get in trouble. I'm just going to run through them real quick. I want you guys to check out the High Marks. That's Cheeseman, Mojo, and G Wiz. You can check them out here on YouTube and on all the usual podcast platforms. And the Everything Unscripted Wrestling Podcast. That's Eric, Doug, and Daniel. I want you guys to check them out. If you're going over to Blog Talk, that's EUP Network over there on Blog Talk Radio. And check out Anthony and Teddy Graham's over there on Spotify. They are the Weekly Detour. If you don't have Spotify, you don't want to mess with Spotify, Google them. You will find them in other places like Player.fm and other platforms. Check it out. Also, Stephen Milan over there. He's reviewing films too. Over 10,000 films reviewed at letterboxd.com/Stephen Milan. Don't forget to check out Stephen over there. 2 L's in his last name, so don't forget to go over there and see what he's doing. And there you go. Like I said, that's really all I needed to get done. We are going to be, like I said, talking this movie. I really like this movie. I really enjoy this movie. It's like I said, first of all, it's a true story, and I just said I like talking true stories. You don't need to sit there and, like I said, go through that whole thing on, is it this, is it that, is it what's true, what's not. Most of this is true. Most of this movie is a true story. Like I said, some of the names and stuff were changed, like every true story out there, especially ones that involve undercover police officers. But this movie here, Roughly 18,000 was the budget. I'll be honest, it was hard to find an actual box office on this movie. I don't know how well it did. The critics didn't take wonderfully to this movie, as they never do. But this was a definitely a different kind of movie, if you will. But this was a Larry Ferguson movie. Now, Larry Ferguson has done a few other movies like The Hunt for Red October. Probably heard of that one. Matter of fact, I talked Rollerball a couple of a few months ago at this point, the newer 2002. He also wrote that. Alien 3, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Those are the Highlander from 1986, the original. So he's definitely written some good movies, a few that I've definitely seen, and one I've already reviewed. So we're right back into the whole thing here. And he actually does play one character in this movie. He actually plays the racist sheriff, which we'll get to. Matter of fact, I can show you a quick picture of what he looks like in the movie real quick. We can go ahead and tick that over here. That's him right there, old Larry Ferguson. But we'll get to all this whole thing or the whole movie. But like I said, I kind of got it a little different. I'm not going to go through and do the whole scene by scene, clip by clip. I do have a few clips to play. I'm going to play a few as I'm talking. I'm going to play a few as I go through the movie a little bit. Movie's about an hour and 46 minutes, not that long of a movie. I'm not expecting to be on that long, to be honest with you. But I do got a lot of little tidbits and information I hope you all like about this movie. So I guess, I'm kind of looking around here. Let's get a little bit of talking done into the background and a few things of this movie first. And then we'll get into the meat of the movie. Obviously, like I said, many biker films have come out. Matter of fact, this film made me watch the 1991 Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth. And let me tell you, when you watch this movie, and then you go back and you watch that Brian Bosworth movie, I can tell you right now, this movie's a lot better. The Brian Bosworth movie doesn't hold up very well. I like that movie. It's got William Forsythe, who is an incredible actor. I mean, the guy has been in, started back in the 80s with Steven Seagal. He's been in he was in Gotti with the Armando Assante Gotti. He's been in a ton of movies. This guy even did the first Deuce Bigelow. The guy can do comedy. The guy can do about anything. He's a really, really great actor, William Forsythe. But he can be anything from a fucking madman gangster to a comedic cop, whatever you want him to be. But he's in it in that Stone Cold movie. There's been plenty of biker movies out there. Even not just about, Harleys and stuff, definitely other biker movies. But this one, again, is unique for the true story that is told. Again, names and stuff, as usual, changed in a lot of these true story movies. That's not a big deal, really. But it's about the story of Daniel Black, who is actually Daniel Saxon in this movie. Now, they do bring up his past of being Daniel Black. He changed that name because he had an uncle who was very abusive. This movie actually starts off with a scene of the uncle abusing him, handcuffed to a chair. The uncle would beat him, do all kinds of things. So it was definitely a dark beginning, right, in this movie. But he did infiltrate the notorious outlaw motorcycle club, which it's called the Jackals in the movie, which Michael Madsen is the leader of. We'll get into the actors in just a few minutes here. As we kind of get, you know what, we can stop right there and get to the actors real quick. There's really not that many actors we really need to go through, I'll be honest with you. We've got a few in this movie. We've got Charlie Sheen, who we've talked about before on one of these shows. If you we did Men at Work, me and Anthony, but Charlie Sheen, obviously known for so many things. We saw him as a young kid in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We've seen him in, like I said, Men at Work, 2.5 Men, Wall Street, which is another one we've reviewed on this show, the original. Three Musketeers, Hot Shots Part 2. and so many other things. I mean, the guy has just worked so. I mean, yeah, 87 credits to his name, but back in those days, he did some very, very powerful movies. So Charlie Sheen is in this movie. Like I said, we get a few incarnations of Charlie Sheen. Linda Fiorentino, who, another one who kind of quality over quantity when it comes to her career. Not known for many, many things. Known mainly for this movie, Men in Black, who she played Laurel, which was the woman in the movie, obviously, and Dogma, who she played Bethany, which was the main character in the movie. But I mean, honestly, she's only got 30 credits to her name, but a very, what she's in and the parts she plays are very big, and the movies she's in do very well. So she really, like I said, it's more of the quality over quantity. So there we go. We got Michael Madsen. Obviously, the last bit of news I heard about Michael Madsen was back in January, late January, when his son Hudson took his own life. Obviously tragic. But that's really all I've heard from him right now. He does have a ton. My God, he's got so much stuff completed in post-production, announced, pre-production, filming. Let's see, completed 1, 2, 3 completed. Post-production 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Filming 2, 1 in pre-production and 1 announced. So we're going to see a lot more of Michael Madsen as the days go out. But, I mean, obviously known for Reservoir Dogs, and he was Mr. Blonde or Vic, Kill Bill, The Hateful Eight, as much as so many other things. Michael Madsen's just a badass when it comes to actors. We got a few more actors I'm going to go through in here. We got Courtney B Vance, another guy who plays an FBI agent in here. Courtney B Vance, known for a few things: The Hunt for Red October, as I mentioned before, Dangerous Minds, Space Cowboys. He was also in American Crime Story. And does a lot of TV stuff. Matter of fact, he was in 61st Street, Genius in 2021, Lovecraft Country in 2020. So, and, obviously I said American Crime Story from 2016, so he's in there. But so there we go with that, with Courtney B Vance. And we'll get pictures of all these as we go along. I just want to kind of rattle off who we're talking about in the movie. We have Leon Rippy, who plays Virgil. Now, you have seen this guy. He does not look like he looks in this movie. He's a crazy-looking motorcycle man in this movie. But if you've ever seen the movie Gridiron Gang, he is in that. He's in Deadwood. He was Tom Nuttall in Deadwood. So if you watch that show, you did see him. He was in The Blacklist. He played Hunter in 4 episodes. So this man, I mean, he's done a lot of TV series. He was even in Leverage. If you saw that show back in the day, he was in about 5 or 6 episodes of that. But the movie I mainly remember him from after this movie is that rock movie, Gridiron Gang. Sorry, I blanked there for a second. But again, we'll get some pictures of all these as we go. We have Dennis Berkeley as Oatmeal. This guy has been in so many TV shows and movies, you don't know you know him, but you know him. He was in The Doors. He was Dog. We talked about him in that movie. We talked Hollywood Homicide, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Among 130 some odd other credits, this guy has been in, from TV to movie to just everything in the world, and even lends his voice to some cartoons and games. He's been in everything, this guy. And he plays Oatmeal in this movie. And if you want my little NYPD Blue reference there, this gentleman was in one. He played a biker named Pig. Does that make sense? When you see him later, you're going to go, yeah. He played a biker named Pig. And we've got Rip Torn in this movie. Obviously, I mentioned Rip Torn. I mentioned Linda Fiorentino being in Men in Black. Those two did go on to work together, both in Men in Black. Rip Torn obviously was the boss in Men in Black. And we've got Reno Thunder, Bogus Charlie, who is only in this movie a couple of times, but the scenes he has in this movie are sort of pivotal to the whole movie. He was in Hot Shots. He was in with Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen actually recommended him for this part. He's really only been in 8 credits, 8 movies, and Hot Shots, Beyond the Law are 2 of the main things that he was in. So, last thing he did was in 2002, and there you go. So he did pass away in 2003. So there you go. Was born in 1935, so, but makes sense. So there we go. We're going to definitely talk a little bit about Bogus Charlie in this movie, though. So there we go. We got all the actors and actress done, and I'm going to go ahead and get us right now back into some of these little details about this movie. So this movie, like I said, based on a true story, but it's amazing how they came upon the story for this true story. It was an article published in a Playboy magazine in July of 1981, because you and I and all the other guys out there and girls read Playboy for the articles. I mean, that's what it's for. It's for, right, the articles. So that's what they did. They found this article in a movie or in the Playboy, and they went through. And the character in the story is actually, like I said, named Dan Black. He was one of the technical advisors on the film. He was also one of the extras. I'll tell you, it's tough to pick out which scene he's in. But there is a scene where they're all doing like a bike run, and there's a bunch of bikes. He's supposedly in one of those scenes on one of the bikes. Now, to add to this film's, the realism of this film, there was actually a biker gang in Arizona called the Dirty Dozen, who also served as technical advisors. But really, I mean, the main difference in the movie and the truth is the elapsed time in the movie. Sid gets very close to blood in a very, very short time, where Daniel Black, the actual undercover agent, this was over an 18-month period before he even got close to making it. But, I mean, we obviously see a shortened down version of, like I said, an hour and 47 minutes. So they had to speed up things. And they did. They went through it. They did some montages and stuff like the 80s and 90s movies all did. But it was definitely, more of a true story than most of the true stories you would get into. But luckily, it was Larry Ferguson who read the piece and decided to pick up and do this movie. He loved the story. He thought it was a great story. He thought it was just a whole little, just something that he could sink his teeth into. Now, Playboy was actually sued for this article, which you can still find this article. I didn't pull it up, but it's by Lawrence Linderman, Undercover Angel. They were sued for the article. They were saying that the screenplay, here's the complaint. It defamed all wives of members of the Oakland and Richmond chapters of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club by its descriptions of alleged sexual activities of Hells Angels brides and mamas. The article described Angel's wedding at the Clear Lake, which we'll get into, as basically the distorted sexual activities, and stated they were stating that the Hells Angels beat up their women and everything, and made them perform unusual sexual acts. I'll be honest, this movie did not get into that, but if you watch Stone Cold, it did get into it. But the article itself did, I guess, put some bad light on what was going on. But, listen, like I said, if you watch that movie Stone Cold, it's all about that. So, and it's funny watching the movie. I'm sitting there talking about Stone Cold and Highlander, and Lance Henriksen was the main bad guy in Stone Cold, as well as played in Highlander. That just hit me right there. So once again, we get this police officer. He does get fired. He gets recruited by this undercover operation. And basically, like I said, he's supposed to go in, infiltrate this biker biker gang, try to get him on arms, drug trafficking, whatever he can. So he is kind of uneventful, doesn't really get much going. It's probably, once again, because he kind of has that baby face. He sort of looks like a pedophile in this movie when we're looking at it. And I can actually here, I can grab a, let me get this loaded up, and I can sneak over to a picture for you guys real quick and show you what he looked like, those of you here. And in a minute, I'll get to it. We'll get to it. Almost there, folks. There we go. Right here. We take that picture over for you guys. This is what he was looking like when he was trying to buy drugs in the beginning. You see, he's got the little mustache going. He's got the flowered shirt on. Didn't look like a biker. They were pinning him as a cop immediately. Immediately, they were pinning this guy as a cop. And as they should have. So there you go. Take that off of there. As they should have, because he did not look anything but like a cop. So it was probably good that he was getting picked out there. But all right, so we got that. And that was one of the reasons he was in a bar drinking. He meets Virgil. Again, Leon Rippy. We were talking about him. So we go through there, and finally that's when he meets Virgil at a bar. And Virgil's a mechanic. They're not too shy about doing things in front of Virgil because he's just a mechanic. He's kind of one of them. He's not really one of those guys, that's in the club, but he fixes their bikes, so they do need him. And obviously, this whole club, the Jackals, is led by Blood, who ends up being Michael Madsen in this movie. But Virgil gets him a lot more entrenched and deeper into this whole biker lifestyle that he was that he needed to get much better into it. But he really fell, he went pretty deep undercover, and we'll get into that too. And he also started a relationship with Linda Fiorentino, who plays Renee in the movie. There was a lot to this movie that really had a lot to... he started going pretty goddamn crazy. Now, Linda Fiorentino plays Renee. I said that. She is actually a photographer who was, at that time, doing an article on motorcycle gangs. So, come on back to it a little bit. There's some beautiful bikes in this movie. There are some gorgeous motorcycles in this movie. There's a Softail ridden by Charlie Sheen that he builds. It wouldn't go that way. It's an awesome bike, but a lot of the bikes that are out there, you got the wishbone hardtails and the Softails, which is mainly what you see out there. But you also got Blood's riding a Fat Boy. Virgil is riding a Softail Springer. So you got the Electra Glide out there for the cops. Every bike out there are just awesome bikes. Somehow, a Honda Goldwing made it onto the scene. Like I said, when they're doing the bike run, I don't know how the Honda made it on there, but it made it on there somehow. So, I've always said I love motorcycles. I've said that before on this show and many shows before, but I do. I always have. I had a little Honda Shadow 1100, and I loved riding it. I'd go up and down A1A. It was awesome to do. Need a sip. So, I love doing that, and it was always a fun time. So, all right, now let's start getting a little bit into it as we're going to go down it. So, we're going to get a little bit into it. But like I said, this film, the only way it was mainly embellished was exactly how I had said. Now, we're going to get to a scene where, you know what? When we get to that scene, we'll talk about that. But I don't even need to do that right now. Let me get back a little bit now. We're going to go ahead and, man, we could actually start kind of going through the movie a little bit here. But we can definitely, yeah, we can definitely do that. Like I said, we're not, we don't have a ton to get into here, but we will definitely get into some of it. Now, this story of Dan Saxon is sort of familiar to the life of Anthony Tate. Now, Anthony Tate was not a police officer. He was a part of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club out there in Anchorage, Alaska, and decided that he would bring in he got busted for something and said basically in exchange for that, he'll bring in ATF or a DEA agent and into the gang, which he did. Now, there was a book written on that he wrote, actually, which if you give me 1 second here, I'll get that book pulled up for you. Where'd that go? Here we go. All right. Yeah, here we go. It's this book right here. All about the Hells Angels right here. Here we go. Pull that book over to your side so you guys can see that a little bit over there on YouTube. And yeah, it was basically Into the Abyss. This guy wrote a book, and it was Yves Levine, which was the actual agent that he brought in with him. Anthony Tate did. So again, another true story about, more. This isn't the only one. I've got 2 of these, to be honest with you guys. 2 of these books that have been written that these are very, very into. Now, this is a decent book. I actually found it on Audible also, so you can check it out over there. Now, he went in and actually ended up going in, and really this FBI sting was good. It brought away 38 major members across the United States, including the leader, Sonny Barger, and the 2 biggest meth cookers that they had. Probably could have taken out more, but they were trying to kind of see if they could get any more arrests. They only ended up with 38 of them. Now, that's the one book and story that this has familiarities to. Also, William Queen. William Queen was another guy who went in, and this was another guy, basically the same thing. Confidential informant, brought in right here, brought down another motorcycle gang. You can see right here, this one's called Under and Alone. William Queen did go under, brought in the FBI with him, and really, really did about the exact same goddamn thing. Brought down another fucking motorcycle gang. So kind of see a pattern here where these guys end up bringing in, but this guy was a veteran law enforcement agent also. Loved motorcycles, didn't care for paperwork, but an informant made contact with him, and they went into the San Bernardino chapter of the Mongols, which, if you've ever watched any of those, TV shows on these motorcycle gangs, the Mongols are a pretty badass bunch, and one of the most dangerous motorcycle gangs in America. And he didn't realize how much he was getting into, and also didn't realize there were more people undercover than him, and he didn't realize that. Luckily, nothing really happened, and but he did end up taking down a very decent amount of motorcycle guys too in some of those motorcycle gangs. Once again, some pretty bad dudes. So, anyway, let's just keep from there. Wow, I think I can actually go ahead and start getting into the movie a little bit there. All right, I think we should do that. I'm going to drop this over a little bit. We're going to take that off the screen for a second. So, all right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get the just got to start going into the movie. Like I said, we're going to be talking about the movie Beyond. We're still getting into that movie Beyond the Law. Basically, like I said, this movie kicks off, and we're sitting there, and you see a motorcycle driving across a desert, basically. And like I said, you see the abuse from his uncle, and he's basically in a dream right there. So obviously it starts off, he's already not a very stable person. To be as deep undercover in what he's doing probably isn't the best thing for a guy like him, to be honest with you. So we go in and he's doing that. He, and like I said, he goes in, he starts there. And one of the first things you see is this scene where these guys are doing all this construction work, and Bogus Charlie is one of the first things we see here. Now, I'm going to go through a few pictures for you guys. This movie starts, the first thing you see before you see his uncle is kind of a little script in the beginning. I'm going to pull this up right now for you guys. Give me 1 second here. It says, "It is too easy to go down into hell. Night and day, the gates of dark death stand wide, but to climb back up again, to retrace one's steps to the open air, there lies the problem, the difficult task." That was by Virgil, the Aeneid. I'm really not sure how to say that, but someone Aeneid. But anyway, that's the first thing you see in the movie right there, is that little saying and statement right there. And then, like I said, we get Rip Torn in this movie. Give you a quick little view of old Rip Torn and Charlie Sheen sitting there together. Like, Bogus Charlie is shooting at the construction vehicles because they're tearing up the land, and he's not too happy about it. So start shooting up the vehicles, and we do see Bogus Charlie up there on the rocks. And there he is right there. And I'll tell you what, this is going to take us right into our first clip. Like I said, it's not going to be very long. It's got some good meat, this movie, and we'll definitely get into it. Putting the headphones on is while I'm stalling. And here we go. Let's go ahead and get into the first clip. Let me make sure everything's going to play, and we'll go from here.
How you doing?
Never better.
You know, I was thinking, if you gave me that rifle, offered to pay for the damage, I could say you were out here hunting and hit the equipment by mistake.
You want jerky?
We don't have a lot of time. The state cops will be here in a few minutes. So if you just give me that rifle...
Sit down.
Whatever you say.
You don't look so good, kid. Something bothering you. Something inside, right?
Are you gonna give me the rifle?
You know, my grandfather told me a story once about a young brave who got scared of his shadow and ran away from it.
Look.
I told you, sit still. Anyway, this young brave found out he was only half a person without his shadow. But to get it back, he had to go down into a dark hole where only shadows live. Problem was, anybody went down there, never came back.
You just run out of time, old man. If you give me the rifle right now, we can still keep you out of jail.
Something else my grandfather told me. A true Apache had to do. When surrounded and outnumbered by crazy white men.
What's that?
Give the fuck up.
And he does. He gives the fuck up. So that's exactly what old Bogus Charlie does there. He gives up. He just says, screw it. Not going to do this. But there again, with the beginning script I was talking about before, and this is only one of two times we actually see Bogus Charlie. Now, Bogus Charlie tells that story. Now, we never got to finish the story. Just want you to remember this. He never got to finish this story, and that is going to be something that we're going to have to, that we will get into again in a little while here. Back to me. So just don't want you to forget that. So we go a little bit, and him and Rip Torn are in this little diner. It's a diner. I don't know why I didn't know what to call it. It's a diner. They're in the diner, and Rip Torn ends up giving him, as a gift to cheer him up, this little badge from when he was a kid. That's going to come into play a little later also, which is why I mentioned it. You know how, method to my madness. You know how it goes. Excuse me. So he kind of tells him, listen, you're looking rough after he does all this. You're looking a little rough. Maybe you should just go kick back, knock back, and I'll cover for you. So he does, and he's sitting there, and of course he's having these little flashbacks until he hears and sees a Jeep drive by. And in that Jeep is the lovely Laura Fiorentino. Look at that. Nice little sultry look she's got right there, looking good. And listen, let's go ahead and play one more clip here of him basically meeting her and being... He can't even speak, is how just enamored by Renee he is in this movie. And here we go.
Why did you stop me?
Huh?
Why did you stop me?
For speeding.
I wasn't speeding.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
I'm afraid you were. May I see your license, please?
You have a nice face.
Excuse me?
Good bones.
Where you going in such a hurry, Miss Jackson?
What difference does that make?
Hey, I'll ask the questions, okay?
Okay. I'm going to the campground.
All this photo equipment yours?
Oh, of course not. That's why I'm carrying it around with me.
Look, you don't have to be a complete
You're
smart.
gonna write me a ticket or what?
Okay, you hear the rumbling. You can hear the rumbling. This is what he sees coming at him. This picture right here, just motorcycles, as far as the eye can see, coming right at him. Just coming at him. So there he goes. And he's like, what in the hell? He calls it in, tells the lady, tells her to get out of there. And this is where we go into the racist boss scene. And once again, the boss played by Mr. Larry Ferguson himself. I'll pop that picture up one more time for you. And you know what? I'll play a little bit of that scene for you guys too. Here. Let's do it.
Plus 10%. And put a little something extra in there for you, Kelly.
Ooh, yeah.
Can you hear Michael Madsen in the background?
I appreciate that, man. I really do.
I know you do.
Now, if there's anything else we can do for you, anything at all.
Forget it.
Okay, so we got a dirty cop. Rip Torn is sitting right in the office when he's doing this, and Rip Torn's just giving him a look like, oh my God, you fucking piece of shit. So, now the reason I'm calling this cop racist is because after this, there's a scene where basically Charlie Sheen, first of all, this is the first time him and Michael Madsen meet, and Michael Madsen looks at him and says, you're in my fucking way. And Charlie moves, but this is the first time they see each other. And it was kind of a weird little moment there, but also a cool little moment. So let me get that off the screen here. So there we go. Now, the reason I call this boss racist is because a little bit after this, they go into the locker room, and they're having a little argument about how he handled the bogus Charlie situation. I got to be honest with you, this was not a complete part of my clips, but let me pop Larry's picture back up, and we'll go ahead and play a... I got a cough. Sorry, folks.
I got a bone to pick with you, Saxon.
That's a surprise.
I heard about what you did this morning. Where the hell do you get off risking your ass over some worthless drunken Indian?
He wasn't drunk.
All Indians are nothing but drunks. Look at me when I'm talking. Hold it! You fucking bitch, son of a bitch. You're fucking fired.
Oh, Bob, don't do that.
Shut the fuck up, Butch. Or I'll fire your ass too. Is that what you want?
That's your call, sir.
You goddamn right it is.
All right, so there you go. Sorry, folks. I had to sneak a cough in there. And I figured that was the best way to do it and not get caught. Or not be seen, at least. So there you go. He's fired from this job. So, you know, he goes home. He's chilling out a little bit. Now, right as he gets home, we see, once again, Price, Courtney B Vance, comes walking up. And it's, you know, just kind of out of nowhere. I'm going to get this picture. I'm sorry about that, folks. Like I said, we get Price. He's coming up. And let's pull this back up here because we're about to see Price now. I did say that him and Madsen had a little stare down. I forgot that I had that picture. There's that little stare down right there for the folks on YouTube between him and Madsen. So, like I said, they definitely saw each other before. And now we're going to go, like I said, the FBI picks him up. Now, the FBI knows a lot more about him than the police did. And you can tell that right here by this clip.
Yeah?
I'm Conroy Price, Mr. Saxon. Special Investigative Division, Arizona Attorney General's Office. I have a proposition for you. Does this turtle ever move?
What do you want, Price?
I'm forming an undercover narcotics operation. I'm looking for a field officer. You're the man I need.
How do you figure that?
I know everything there is to know about you.
Really?
Dan Saxon isn't your real name. You were born William Patrick Steiner in Manhattan on June 24, 1966.
So there you go. William Patrick Steiner. So we have William Patrick Steiner. We have Daniel Black. We have Daniel Saxton, or Saxon, S-A-X-O-N. And by the end of the movie, we're going to have Sid, which I'll tell you what Sid stands for in just a minute here. But this guy had a lot of names. You could almost see that the real officer, I guess we'll just call him Daniel Black, was definitely running from something. Was definitely trying to hide some things that happened in his past. And you're going to hear in a minute, when he was 6 years old, that uncle that was abusing him, he killed him. Shot and killed him. So let's get on with this scene right here. I just wanted to kind of prepare you guys. Now, I know I'm playing a lot of scenes in the beginning. These are important scenes that, again, the progression of how this goes from there from here to the end of the movie is very quick. So I'm playing not a lot. I've got less than 10 clips left right now. And I'm going to play them as I give some details on this movie. So have no fear. So let's keep going with this little meeting here.
Your father was a pipe fitter. Your mother was a full-blooded Chippewa Indian. You were orphaned when you were 3 and raised by your paternal uncle who was a policeman. Shall I go on?
Who the hell are you?
I told you I'm with the Attorney General's office. Let me give you my card. I'll put it right here. I'll go on. Because she was a Native American, your uncle hated your mother. He locked you in a room, handcuffed you, and beat you repeatedly for the next 3 years. When you were 6 years old, you somehow got his gun and shot him through the heart 6 times. 6 times. A court-appointed psychiatrist testified you have no memory of how it happened. Severe emotional trauma, he called it. You know what you did. You just can't remember doing it.
How did you find out?
I can't tell you that, but it was no easy task. As you know, the judge in the case sealed your records forever when you adopted. I'm curious about one thing, though. Why become a policeman? It's a strange thing for you to do under the circumstances, don't you think? Then again, maybe not.
Well, I think you better get the hell out of here.
Oh, wait, let me finish.
You gonna leave, or do I have to throw you out?
I can find my own way out.
All right, so he does kick him out. And basically, he's telling, oh, you need this job, you need something to get your mind right. But there you go. At 6 years old, shot him. The hell was that? I'm sorry, but there's someone knocking. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but I hear knocking. I think it's my dog knocking on the door. I think he's scratching. Sorry about that, folks. I heard it out of nowhere. I'm like, what the hell is that? It sounded like someone knocking on my bathroom wall. What I was looking at there. Anyway, so yeah, he tells me, you need this job, you got to get it. But yeah, 6 times ended up shooting that goal through the heart. Whew. Guy's a good shot. Kid was a great shot, obviously. So there we go. That was him meeting Price. Now, as I had said, he goes through. He does end up taking this job, which he ends up meeting him. Now they meet in this little kind of desolated part of the desert, and this is where they're going to start doing all the drops. So that's fine. They're doing all the drops there in the desert, and but he does end up taking the job. And he goes through, and like I showed you in that little, he starts going through, changes his appearance a little bit. Like I had showed you in that one picture, he's not doing very well. Doesn't look much like, well, he looks like an undercover cop in this picture. Like I said, he's got just the mustache going. He's got the flower shirt going. Not awfully convincing in this scene right here. And he's going through, he's getting a little bit here, a little bit there. He's getting like quarter ounces and shit like that from people of weed and stuff like that. Nothing big, nothing major. And then he goes into a bar, because he's getting, everyone's just fucking with him. They know he's a cop. They know he's a cop. They're laughing at him. So he's in a bar and he meets Leon Rippy. He meets Virgil, and it's probably the best thing he ever did, is meeting Virgil, because Virgil kind of befriends the guy. Virgil, like I said, he's definitely important to the bikers. First of all, he's not 100% sure this guy's a real cop at all. When he deputizes Virgil, it's that little tin badge he got from Rip Torn at the diner. So there you go. But I'm gonna play this little meeting between him and Virgil. This is where he first meets Virgil, Leon Rippy, and let's knock it out.
Name's Virgil. Gotta get shit-faced to keep drinking that fast, man.
I hope so.
I couldn't help but notice how much money you're dragging around.
I needed to buy dope.
Oh, I figured you for a dealer right off.
Listen, wrong, Virgil. I'm an undercover narcotics officer.
All right, now we're talking about the progression being a little embellished and a little sped up. I don't think even drunk he would blurt out that quick to someone he doesn't even fucking know that he's an undercover narcotics officer. He would he literally could get killed telling this man that, where he's at. But he got lucky. Virgil, like I said, is kind of used by the motorcycle club, doesn't really fit in, and he knows they fuck with him, and I think he kind of feels like an outsider and was looking to get some help and wanted to do this. So play a little more of this meeting here.
Get the fuck out of here. You're a narc? Well, if you was a narc, I'm not saying that you are, but if you was, you could get your ass dusted for talking about it.
Yeah, what the hell's the difference? Bust.
All right, so to not, hopefully not get a copyright on this with that music in the background, I'm going to kind of skip over that part a little bit. Now, they go through a little bit. Like I said, Virgil is definitely willing to help him out here. Now my dog wants to go out, and you start telling him, they need me. I can get you in there. I can do this, but you really got to get a little rougher, a little tougher. And basically, like I said, he deputizes Virgil with the little tin badge, and there they go. I'm sorry, I forgot I had that still up on the screen. I apologize for that. So he deputizes him with the little tin badge, and there you go. Virgil is now the man. Now, there's a part that I'm going to get into in a minute where Virgil talks about, as they're going through, they do the motorcycle building montage. They pull out from, they build this bike from a chassis up. And don't worry, I got a picture of it's a gorgeous motorcycle when they're done with it. So, but at one little scene in the movie, Virgil talks about some of the codes that he's going to have to learn in order to basically stick with this biker gang and not get fucking killed. So let's go ahead and grab one more little clip here of Virgil talking to him, and I'm going to let my dog out of the room. So give me 1 sec here. I'm going to play this clip. And we're going to get this going right now. Sorry, folks. Here we go.
Bikers, man. And then there are jackals. Jackals is the fucking cream. You don't got to be a rocket scientist to get close to them. They only got a few rules. Most important is stomping.
Stomping means somebody hits a jackal. He's gonna have 30 of them on his neck. A dude asks a jackal to get out of his house. He's gonna come back with an army and stomp the bastard to death.
All right. So there you go. That's pretty much one of the codes of the biker club. I'm gonna stick with the biker club. I know they don't really care about being called a gang that much. So there you go. Now, as he's going through and talking to Daniel here, as Virgil's talking to him, they kind of go in, and he starts getting a little better looking. Finally, he's getting some stuff worked out with his beard. He's got the hair growing long finally, and just finally getting the look going. And they get this bike. Oh, this bike. Here's the bike. Oh, look at this gorgeous bike. Oh, this beautiful Softail they make. Now, there was a point in there where they were spraying red. Now, there's not one touch of red on this bike. Now, you can tell me it was a primer. That's fine. I'll believe it. But I don't give a shit. This bike is absolutely, oh my God, I would kill for this fucking bike. It is absolutely beautiful, this motorcycle. So, there you go. This is the motorcycle they get. And, he's letting them, get used to riding a motorcycle and do this and do that. But after that, they, sorry about that. My eye was itching. After that, finally, Virgil needs to get him ready. And in order to do that, first what he does is he gets him a jacket. And the jacket he gets him is the Pythons, is the motorcycle club. Now, it's a made-up club, but no one's going to fucking know. Now, they do point out at one point that he puts the 1% on his patch on his vest. Now, that is the 1%ers. It actually says that he is part of the Brotherhood. Now, he identifies the jackals as top dogs, which is definitely why he's going after him, because these guys are also part of that. Now, the Brotherhood is kind of a thing where you get like stems out of them. Like these guys would be a like a chapter of them. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start there, and we're going to do this little clip on the 1%ers, and that'll kind of go into everything from there.
This means that you are a member of the totally zoned out, fucked up, badass outlaw motorcycle brotherhood. This little space right here, now that's where your name goes. And what do you want to call yourself? Bikers all got nicknames.
How about if I call myself Sid?
Sid.
Now he holds up Sid. Now the reason he wants to call himself Sid is because it stands for the Special Investigative Division. So he decides to call himself Sid. Whatever. So anyway, there's another. This is what that was his little explanation on that. Now, he also takes the jacket out and pisses on it. Don't worry about it. It's just something they do. Now, another little scene in here is he's going to go through. Now, actually, let me get a few more things here now. Virgil definitely has, like I said, he's got a lot of knowledge on what goes on. He's a good mechanic for him, so they just kind of take him everywhere. They don't care about doing business in front of him. They don't care about doing drugs in front of him. And, that's just kind of what they do. But, he's doing things he's not supposed to. Daniel told him no carrying guns, no carrying this, no committing crimes. Oh, the first fucking thing he does is, the first thing Virgil does is he steals a car. And he basically kind of takes on, he tries to get him ready for going to the first meeting that they have. Now, again, he just took on this persona as Sid. I just told you what that was from the Pythons of Cleveland. Now, by the end of this movie, he's actually ready to, because blood saves his life at one point. He's actually ready to, warn Blood and get him out of there, which probably wouldn't have been a fucking good idea. All right, let's go a little more. This is kind of their first meeting, but first thing Virgil does is he steals the car, and he basically takes Charlie Sheen on a fucking run and finds out he's crazy enough to do what he's doing. And they go. As Virgil says, well, get your shit together. We're going to a fucking wedding. And they go to a fucking wedding. And this is where Sid starts getting in pretty good with some of the biker gangs. And this is when we first see Oatmeal. You know what? Let's go ahead and play this clip. He gets guns. It tells him he's ready, wants to buy guns. So they go do a little bit of shooting. He steals a piece of dynamite. And this is the scene we're going to play. Here we go right now.
Wrong.
Bullshit, man. You fucking hit a can, it fucking moves. The fucking can didn't move.
What, are you calling me a liar?
I'm calling you worse than a liar. I'm saying the Pythons are a sissy-ass club. And you are a chicken shit dog motherfucker. What the fuck you doing, man?
I'm gonna try again, Oatmeal. I wanna make sure the can moves this time.
Jeez, will you fucking nuts?
So there you go. I got the picture up here for everybody to check out. He's got the water splashing down on him. We see this is the last incarnation of Sheen in this movie. We saw babyface Sheen. We now see, we saw pedo mustache Sheen. And now we're looking at badass biker. Look at those fucking, dude, if you've got leather on your sunglasses, you're kind of a badass. I just say you're kind of a badass. And he's got leather on his fucking sunglasses, folks. Whatever that tells you right there. So there you go. Now here, we're going to play a little more of this scene because this is where he also meets Blood in the first thing, and to kind of play that a little bit.
Stupid son of a bitch. I'm gonna kill you.
Who the fuck you gonna kill now, Blubber Guts?
Oh, Jesus.
Who?
I didn't mean nothing, man.
Okay, who set off the fucking dynamite?
I did.
It was just,
Virgil, shut your mouth. Who the fuck are you?
his name's Sid.
What the fuck did I just say to you? Shut up.
Absolutely.
What's going on, Sid?
You rat fucked my colors.
Hey, I'm just screwing around. Give him the back off, Blood.
What are you gonna do?
I think I'm gonna shoot him.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
Please, Jesus, please. Put the damn gun away, man.
Get her out of here.
God damn it, I didn't mean anything. Come on, give me a break.
All right, so at this point right here, they take Linda Fiorentino's character, Renee. They take her away. All right, get her out of here. And Madsen pulls the gun.
This ain't right. Please, God.
You shoot him and I'll blow your motherfucking brains out.
Nobody lives forever.
That's a fact. Now shoot the fucker.
Oh, God, oh, Jesus. I was just fooling around. I didn't mean nothing. I kiss your fucking colors, man. I like your colors. I love your fucking colors. I think your colors are wonderful. Oh, Jesus, I'm being here.
So he starts pissing himself, and they all start laughing. Ha ha! Big guy pees himself. So they all laughed, and that was that. So there you go. So they actually, they kind of start to get along, and Michael Madsen actually tells him, "Listen, it's kind of different here, because usually I'd blow your fucking brains out for what you just did to Oatmeal." And he's like, "Well, whatever." And even Madsen says at one point, haven't we met before? And Sheen gives this little look at him, and he tries to act tough, and he goes, "Trust me, if you met me, you'd fucking remember." So, anyway, we keep going a little bit here, folks. It's just always funny to hear Charlie Sheen try to act tough. Even looking tough, he just can't act tough all the time. So we have this little wedding up there. It's interesting. It's an interesting wedding, I'll just put it that way. But they go through, and now he talks to Blood, and like I said, Blood has a little talk with him. And he also goes and sits with Linda Fiorentino. Now, remember, he had pulled her over, and she recognized him. She said, "Trust me, you don't look anything like you used to." And he's like, "Can you shut the fuck up? I can get killed doing this." Well, like I said, she also becomes his love interest. They end up... So the next day comes, and basically Sid's riding with him, and they bet Sid $50 he won't go into this fucking redneck bar. Ride his bike right into it. He does. Drives right in there, not a problem at all. And I bring this up because there's a part in the bar where Sid and Michael Madsen are fighting now. Obviously, I just said, most people know I've got a wrestling podcast also. And this just reminds me of when Karl Malone and DDP were back to back. These guys are back to back throwing punches in the redneck bar. So they're getting along. They're definitely getting along pretty good. They're getting along pretty good in this little bar and everywhere else. So there you go. Another little scene we go to after that. We're going to go down, and he ends up at a strip bar called The Whole Thing. This is the strip bar they go to in this movie. And he's talking to Blood, but he also sees Renee over there. She's playing pool. And I bring this up because he makes a bet with these two guys that for $50 that she can beat both of them playing pool. Well, they get pissed when she does, and he gets into a fight with them, takes them both. I bring that up because that's an important part later where Blood saves his life. They end up going home that night, those two. By those two, I mean Sid and Renee. And there you go. Now, she tells him at this part, she tells him, "I have a daughter." And he's like, "Well, I want to meet her." And she's like, "I don't know how good that would work." But anyway, brings him home to Sid anyway. And here you go. This is where Sid meets her daughter, Mary Beth. Not Mary Beth, Mary Bet.
What are you doing?
I am creating something.
What is it?
It's a mess. No, it is not a mess. It is an old secret recipe that is no longer a secret. We have the vanilla ice cream, and we have the melted peanut butter and grape juice, presson cru, juice de bon. And a personal favorite of mine. Come here. Pick a hand. Oreo cookies, but I prefer them crushed. And we pour the crushed Oreos into the melted peanut butter, and we continue to crush them.
So there you go. Very good with the daughter. She likes the little drink he creates, and but you can also tell, I mean, right before the daughter came, the guy is still having his flashbacks and everything. So still pretty fucked up. So anyway, we keep going a little bit through this movie, and Price is one of those guys that just, I mean, he's buying drugs, he's buying guns, he's getting everything he needs, and they also show him continuing his relationship. Again, this is over an 18-month period, and we're supposed to just digest all this in an hour and 47-minute movie. So, like I said, they do a couple montages. He's buying drugs. He's riding around the Mary Beth on the motorcycle. He's trying to be him, and he's also trying to be Sid. So he's trying to be Daniel, and he's trying to be Sid, which never is very easy to do. So he's going through, and Price seems to be moving up in the ranks as things are going good with Daniel. So this is the other point right here. There's a point in this movie where Michael Madsen actually asks Sid to be in the Jackals. Now, as this is definitely an embellished part, probably was a little bit exaggerated, but when he literally what he would have to do here is called a patch over. So if he did join the Jackals, he would have to literally patch over not just him, but the whole gang his whole Pythons gang would have to patch over before he was offered a position in the Jackals. Now, the reason he can't take a position in the Jackals is because you have to commit a felony also in front of the Jackals. So that's another reason. Now, I'm about to come up on a scene where we do the run, the motorcycle run, where it's all these motorcycle gangs together, or clubs, together. And there's a little part where he drives his motorcycle all the way up and rides beside blood. Ain't no fucking way that would happen. No way that would happen. It just wouldn't happen. He's not even a member. He would probably get his ass kicked. They would probably pull over and beat the living fuck out of him at that point, to be honest with you. So, all right. So there we go with that. So, all right. Now, again, you can see, like I said, he's starting to get deep undercover and kind of losing track of who he is and who he needs to be. But all right, here we go. Let's go ahead and go a little bit here, and we'll go ahead and roll into the next. Like I said, that's the whole thing where he tries to join the Jackals. Now, smartly, Sheen says that he needs to think about it because he's got people that are expecting things of him. But this is also where he does drugs because they get pissed at Virgil for taking him every time he needs them. So he ends up doing some crank or meth, whatever they're cooking out there. But he goes to Price now. Price is rising up in the ranks, and he's all proud of himself. Basically, this guy is a fucking glory hound who's getting his fucking glory off of fucking the undercover agent's back. And Daniel's getting nothing for this except a fucking headache and being driven further into insanity. So now, in this little meeting they have, he tells him he's losing his fucking mind and wants out. And all this guy says is, look, Washington called me. By the way, they want to put an undercover in there. He says, oh, hell no. You're not putting an undercover in here. So as they're going with that, him and his relationship with Renee is even more strained. And they go on this poker run. Like I said, we have the little scene where he's driving up front with blood. It's just basically a montage of motorcycles where somewhere in these scenes, we're not sure where, is the real Daniel Saxon, Daniel Black, whatever you want to call him. Now, they did put the undercover in here. And he was spotted almost fucking immediately. Almost immediately, this guy was spotted. Here we go.
Where'd you get your scooter at?
Get your fucking hands off me, man!
I'll kill you, motherfucker!
Take your fucking hands off me!
Scooter belongs to a brother of mine!
Piece of
you
shit!
Motherfucker!
Break
You know what you are, you
neck.
fucking pig! Pig-sucking motherfucker, that's what you are!
I side, what the fuck is going on over here?
This worthless piece of shit's a fucking cop. I know the scooter belonged to a brother of mine. FBI confiscated it over 2 months ago.
Okay, so right here, this poor cop, if you're looking right here, he looks scared to death. So Sid just jumps him, beats the living hell out of this cop. Now, it may look like a brutal scene, but if you understand what these guys would have done to him, he probably saved their life. Now, he gets up and not only does he get into the face of, like, beats this cop's ass, he gets into the face of Price. He gets into the face of, he spits in Price's face. And they leave. They leave. He calls them pieces of shit, spits in his face. He's trying to keep his fucking cover. He's trying his best to keep his goddamn cover. He probably saved this undercover cop's life by beating his ass the way he did. He probably did, and this undercover fucking knows it. And we'll show you that a little bit later. But yeah, that's how they got it right there. Now, after he beats this cop's ass, it's the first time Virgil kind of looks at him like, this guy really a fucking cop? Kind of gives him that look. So right after this, we get another part where they're going to buy some drugs, him and Virgil, and they end up with these two guys out of this rival motorcycle, the Dusters Club, and they end up going with these two guys right here, and they're in there. They give him a ride, and the guy wants to fucking basically shoot up in the car, and they don't freak out, but the guys start getting nervous when they start talking about Cleveland, because that's where the Pythons were out of. And Sheen don't know shit about Cleveland. Well, he takes these guys, and let me get this picture off. Sorry for that, folks. He takes these guys, gets them out of the car, beats the living hell out of them, throws one against literally puts his head, kicks the door off the fucking car, puts his head against the fucking back trunk, beats the hell out of these two guys, and then they got a cop behind them. They're trying to stick this fucking needle in Sheen's neck, and they're driving all over the place. Sheen gets out, does this all right in front of a police officer. And finally, he gets up, and he just points the gun at the police officer. And boom, right there. And he goes, I have an idea. Let's shoot each other. And Virgil, this fucking tough biker, is fucking scared once this cop leaves. Now, you'd think Virgil ain't no big deal, but nope.
Let's get the hell out of here. Get in the car, Virgil.
I don't think so, man. This is where Virgil gets off.
What are you talking about?
You, man, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. I mean, look at this shit. You're fucking nuts. If you ever was a cop, you ain't a cop anymore. I mean, no fucking cop in the world does shit like that. Here, man, you can get yourself a new deputy. I just can't keep up with you no more.
So there you go. Virgil decides he can't do this shit no more. And that's it. He leaves Virgil. Virgil throws the little tin badge at him and he leaves. But he's got a cop on his ass, Sheen does. And this cop ain't taking no shit, because you got to remember what he just did. He just did that, pulled a gun on a cop. This cop goes up, brings him right to jail. Now, I did say that there was another scene where we see Bogus Charlie. Now, we also heard in this scene that his mother was Chippewa Indian, which means he's got some Indian in him, which is why he kind of has a kinship with these Indians. But he sees Bogus Charlie, and he, remember what I said, Bogus Charlie never finished that story about the shadow. And we probably should finish that story up a little bit. What do you think, guys? So he goes to jail and asks for a phone call, but the first guy he ends up seeing is Bogus Charlie in that jail. So, here we go.
You gotta give me a fucking phone call!
Sit down, kid. There's nothing you can do.
Charlie? Bogus Charlie?
I know you?
You told me a story about an Indian who ran away from his shadow, remember?
Oh, yeah. You don't look like the same.
Why did you tell me that? Why did you tell me that?
I don't know. Jesus Christ, you're choking me.
I'm sorry. The Indian in the story, what happens to him?
He goes down into the hole and finds his shadow. A moon woman sews it back on for him. But before he can climb back out, he has to meet.
Who?
Look, kid, it's just a story.
Who does he have to meet?
Death.
Get the fuck out of here.
All right, so we heard that. He asked to go meet death. Now, could mean a lot of things. Doesn't really tell him. Death could be blood. Blood by the leader of the Jackals. It could be anyone. But after this, he does end up getting out, and he ends up going home, and he ends up seeing Renee. Excuse me. Now, remember, Renee is a photographer. Well, she's down in her little basement thing down there. What do you call those places? Developing laboratories. What I don't. Forgive my brain. So she's down there developing film in her developing dark room. Yes, that's the name of it. A dark room. Yes. Click, light, on. She's down in there in her dark room. And, she's doing that right there, developing all these things. And she notices in one of them, his shadow didn't come out in one of the pictures. And he gets a little nervous and gets out of there. Then they show him talking to Price. And, he is losing his fucking mind. You can see it. He's getting deeper in and deeper in. Tells Price, fuck everyone and fuck you. I don't care what exactly you're fucking being called up for. It doesn't matter to me. I'm the one breaking my ass and going fucking crazy. And he is. Well, after that, he goes to Blood's. Blood scares him a little bit. Pulls a gun on him. But it's not loaded. Just still scares him a little bit. And they do sort of pull him out. They're ready to start pulling the trigger and make some fucking arrests. Now, before this, though, again, we get... I told you to remember those two guys he got into a fight with at the bar. Him and Blood are leaving the bar, and these guys attack him. Blood basically says, no problem, man. I'll go get the car. You guys do what you got to do. Well, they were going to kill him. Blood ends up coming up behind him, beating his ass. Saves his life. This is where he actually was like, shit, I might need to fucking warn this guy. He saved my life, But he doesn't. He doesn't. But the cops end up ready to make arrests. And right before they make arrests, though, they go in to a store. Okay? Well, wait a minute. Make sure I'm doing this in the right order. Yes, they go into a store. And remember what I said, to join the Jackals, you have to commit a felony in front of them. Well, they go into a store and they basically force Sid to do that, exactly that, commit a felony. Well, Sid doesn't really want to do it. And he doesn't blow his cover here, but he does he's against of what they're going to do. They end up robbing the store and killing the girl, and he's not fucking with that shit. And basically, Michael Madsen puts a gun to his head like, dude, you just fucking stepped on your fucking meat. I would have fucking given you everything. My club, my fucking bike, everything. And now he doesn't know where he stands. So Sheen's freaking out a little bit, kind of has some flashbacks here. And from here, this is where they're ready to start making arrests. He's like, look, I saw him murder somebody. You got to take him down. I'm not going back. They have a meeting. And they finally introduce Daniel Saxon to everyone. Now, the first guy he sees when he's in this little meeting and they introduce him, you know what, let me play the meeting and I'll show you the first guy he sees. I'll pause it at that point.
State agencies are represented here today, along with the FBI, Drug Enforcement Agency, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and the U.S. Treasury. Gentlemen, at precisely 11 p.m. tonight and continuing through dawn, an unprecedented number of arrests will be made in California, Arizona, and Nevada. These arrests will be staggered by location and time to minimize the possibility of alerting any of the suspects. The significance of this many arrests over such a vast area is awesome. It represents a substantial blow to organized crime in Arizona, and it is the result of one man's dedicated effort. An effort expended, I might add, at considerable personal cost. Now, you've all heard by now that we've had an undercover officer deep within the outlaw motorcycle community, but I think you'll be surprised when you meet him. In fact, I know you will be. His name is Daniel Saxon.
Okay, so he comes walking out. The first three guys he gets a view of is the guy's ass he kicked, the guy he pulled a gun on, and the cop that took him to jail. That's the exact people right there that he sees. That's the first three people he looks at. So what do you think he's thinking? Oh, fuck. I might get my ass kicked right here. These guys may walk out. Well, not exactly. They see him. First guy. And they start clapping for him. First three guys to clap are those three guys that know what he was doing. He was deep under. This guy 100% knows he saved his life. These guys were fucking gonna kill him. He was dead. He was dead. They were gonna fucking kill him right there. They didn't care if cops were there. Someone would have went to jail for it. They would have stomped his ass, as Virgil was talking about in the beginning here. The other, the guy was just trying to keep his cover. That's all he was doing, and cops understand that. And I'm sure he thought he was fucking getting. I'm sure thought no one understood, but they do. They do. So pretty good right there. I'm sure that was a good feeling knowing that these guys understood what he was doing. And there you go. So basically by the end of this, the only thing he wants is for him to be the one to arrest Blood. And he does. They say, look, you got 5 minutes, you go in. He goes in. He starts talking to Blood. He gives him the name. He's like, listen, I'm really not down with what the fuck you did. Blah, blah, blah. He says this girl's name was this. She wanted to live. And he tells Blood, you've seen me before. And he pulls out his old ID. And on that is the picture of him when Blood first saw him, that first picture I showed you guys, which I guess I can kind of go, you know what, I can go back to that a little bit. Give me a second, I'll flip over to it and pull that back up one more time here. That was the next picture. That was the picture on his ID, was that young, the picture of the young Charlie Sheen, which, you know what, I don't even have that picture of the young Charlie Sheen. So anyway, but he's like, and guess what? I'm still in your fucking way. Like I said, that was what he said to him. You're in my fucking way. So there you go right there, folks. He goes in, Blood pulls a gun, he shoots him. And if you want to know what ended up happening to this whole motorcycle gang or club, well, here you go. Now, this movie was also called Fixing the Shadow. Actually, overseas it was called Fixing the Shadow. And if you go to download subtitles, it's known as Fixing the Shadow. So, because it took me a while to figure that one out. You're going to see that at the top right here in just a minute, those of you on YouTube. And here you go. Let's find out what happened, everybody.
The story you've just seen is true. Some of the names and locations have been changed, but it's true. Over 200 people got busted out there in the desert. Blood's doing 3 consecutive life terms. The real Dan Saxon lives with Renee somewhere in Northern California and appeared as an extra in this movie. Me? There still ain't nothing about a scooter that I can't fix. And I guess you could say that I'm pretty much all right.
So there you go. Listen, great movie, great true story. I really, look, 1993 again. This was only a couple years after Stone Cold had come out, which was a little ridiculous of a movie. Like I said, doesn't really hold up. But this movie here is a really good movie. Like I said, it's a true story. It's something you can sit there, you can watch, you can, it goes very quick. For an hour and 47 movie to get into everything they got into, that's pretty goddamn good. But they go through everything pretty fast. And I just think it's a really good movie. I'm trying to give you less clips and less details so you watch this. I want y'all to watch this movie. It's a great movie, back, like I said, from 1993, but not a lot of real deep trivia into the movie. Like I said, it was released in the UK. Fixing the Shadow was the name of it. There's not really much more to get into with this. I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed, but there's really not. But it's definitely, like I said, it's a cool movie to go through. Like I said, it's kind of the way he rises up in the ranks of this motorcycle gang. If they were that bad of a motorcycle, they're not going to trust someone as quick as this movie is. But again, 18 months, I could see that's a year and a half. That's one guy and another guy vouching for him, who I'm sure they never thought Virgil was going to be this kind of a snitch. So I don't know. I think this is a great movie, though. I definitely think you guys should probably check it out if you haven't. For a while there, it was on Netflix, which means it'll probably be back on Netflix sooner rather than later. But great movie, Larry Ferguson. And that's about all I really can say. Just definitely a movie you guys should be checking out. And that's it. I think I got into everything I need to with this movie. I appreciate everybody who's going to watch this. I appreciate everybody who's going to listen to this. I'll get this bad boy put up. But thanks a lot, everybody. I hope if you do watch this movie, you enjoy it. And if you do enjoy it, let me know. You guys can get me right here on YouTube. You can go to Facebook and find Hollywood Hangout. And, of course, you guys can always join me on Wednesday night if you happen to be wrestling fans. Me and Smark are over there talking the wrestling on the wrestling outlet. Still haven't got Mixler working, but this is working for me right now. So, all right, folks, I'm going to go ahead take off, but thank you all for joining me. And look, we wrapped this up in about an hour and a half. Not bad at all. And I think that was perfect. So there you go, everyone. See ya.